All right. Okay. Welcome, everyone. This session is being recorded, as you just heard. So just keep in mind, what I'll do is quickly introduce ourselves, and then we're going to do a quick presentation and demo within 20 minutes, and then jump into Q&A. So my name is Frank Rosa. I'm a co-founder of Talem3. Back in 2013, I used to run a digital accelerator for a college, and a year after that, I inherited like 385 learning spaces, and I had 3 campuses, 2 out-of-date spreadsheets, and 1 campus had no spreadsheet. And I was asked, well, how much money do we need to keep the classrooms current and working? So we had to do a massive audit. We were working with spreadsheets, and lived through the pain of that and how quickly that got out of date. I spent a year looking in the market, couldn't find anything that actually specialized in learning space management. And I asked if we could create a solution ground up, and the answer was no. But they permitted me to work with an outside group to see if we could develop something. So 2015, after a couple years of developing, we built this product from the ground up in Amazon. And we have over 12 institutions using this today in the US and Canada. We are getting some interest in Europe now. Jeff is our Chief Technology Officer, so him and I are going to be the presenters and Q&A support today. So what I'll do is I'll get started right away, and for the sake of time, I'm going to share my screen. And tell me if you guys, this is good in terms of screen size.
Yeah, looks great.
Okay, so as co-founders of Talem3, we decided to talk about something about learning space management, which it's really about how well your classrooms are academically aligned to what they need, and are they properly being utilized for what they're able to do. It's a pretty important problem of what we do. And when I was thinking, about this, that the learning space service providers are constantly worried about, are the classrooms meeting the academic needs? Are they properly functioning? Are they evolving to currently meet academic needs? Are they properly understood? And are they properly utilized? So as we're making notes, this is like obviously easier said than done. And we've always felt that this has been a pretty difficult problem to tackle, because every time we talk to different institutions, we've seen various ways that when classrooms get updated, the learning space providers provide training the first week before a semester start, only to find that a handful of professors show up. And if they do online training, again, they don't get the attendance. And then some institutions, you're not going to get your badge to open your classroom unless you take training. And then they have to walk in a room and they try to listen in. And every time it was like just the effort that you put in never got the yield that you expected, but you're accountable for this. So, and at the same time, you realize that, and I use the word raison d'etre, why are you here? What's the reason you're here? And it's really to make sure that a professor could walk in and the students could walk in and they could learn and they could teach. So making sure those rooms are intuitive and working is critical. So this word, I don't know if you heard of flying around. I heard it flying around for the last 2 years, becoming more popular in daily vocabulary. And I think it kind of captured the spirit of it, is in terms of, what is affordance? And, if you walk into a classroom, is the user, is its uses, and is it clear on how and it should be used? Like, what can it do? And is it clear on what it can do? So this word really relevant in terms of achieving the learning space goals. And there's a lot of, there's 5 business problems that had to be tackled here. I'm going to go through them one by one, then we'll jump into a demo. But you're always concerned, like, can faculty properly utilize the learning space capabilities? Number 2 is that the training alternatives and resources you put into it, are they getting the right yield? And often we find that they're on the low side. High effort, low ROI on return. And learning spaces are often in use. So like, if you need to renovate them and you need to get into the classroom and they're always booked, it's really difficult. That's a problem. And then the faculty you support are exponentially larger than you guys. So typically across the world, we've seen that. So what's an efficient means that you could get feedback and interact and engage with faculty that doesn't break the bank? Can faculty share and self-learn from each other? It'd be ideal if they shared success stories and to put less onus on the team. So these were like the 5 areas we felt that, you know, if there's a solution that it can greatly benefit the purpose of your organization and the institution and ultimately the students. So we have to move on beyond the technical jargon and the make model. And when we look around the world, you could look at different universities and you could typically find classrooms. And you may get all, you may get not, but often you see, here's a classroom and it'll either say projector or I'll say the make model. And while that is very valuable for us, it doesn't convey enough, especially as these learning spaces, technologies become more advanced, more pedagogically rich, they need more support. So what we're going to do here, and like, if you see, I'm going to flip my screen over, this is our software learning space manager. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pop into our locations module and scan the institution, open up a building, open up a floor, and pop up a classroom. So what I'm going to do is, here's a classroom, and I'm going to remove all these parts here. It's going to move them to the e-waste, move these parts to the e-waste room to get them out. To simulate, you have a brand new room. So you have a brand new room that you have to create and has no assets in there, no facilities assets, no technology assets. So naturally you would see that if faculty would pop into this room, they're going to see, well, I can see pictures of the room. I could kind of peruse the room. I could see it. This is good if you're remote designing. If you're a classroom, if you're a professor that just got assigned to a new classroom, you could virtually visit the space. And it tells you how you could get help, whatever the institution. So, but it doesn't tell you anything else. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the same room and we're going to add, like, start adding a couple things. So I'm going to add, we're building the new room and we're going to put a bright link in there. So I'm going to type bright link. And I'm going to say we're going to purchase, the system wants to know when you've purchased it. I'm going to put today and add a bright link to the classroom. And if you're not familiar with a Epson bright link, it's a short throw projector. Looks like that. It's electronic ink. It's also a projection board, and it's also a whiteboard. So pretty versatile piece of equipment. Also going to add, just type verb, steel case verb furniture. Again, I'm going to just specify when it was purchased, so for end of life reasons. And I'm going to add Crestron AM, I think 300. That's the wireless presentation. That's the standard. So I'm going to add that to the room as well. And one more piece here I'm going to add just for demonstration purposes. As we're building up this room, a Kramer. If you use Kramer, they have their own wireless presentation, the Via Connect, and put in the supplier and the date. So basically, I went in, I created a brand new classroom, and I added my standard, which are these 4 pieces of equipment. Now what we're going to do is go in, and if
sorry, Frank, did you mean to add the podium, or did you want the desks for the verb?
Sorry, I got the desks. Yeah, thank you. Let me go back. The verb. Desk, thank you. It's going to have to be the supplier. Okay, there we go. So bonus, we got a podium in there. Okay, so now I just, from a learning space service provider, I built a new classroom, or I upgraded, renovated a classroom, and I've updated the equipment in it. So now I'm going to go back to the room here, and I'm going to look up the room. I'm going to search for it here and pop it up. And you can see, oh, wow, there's a featured article about this interactive board. And if I click through amenities, mobile furniture, and I click on technology, and I can see that I got the Air Media and the Kramer that's listed in there. So this page self-constructed. And as you know, I just put in the make model for the equipment. But if you're faculty, again, make model is not important, or what it's technology, it's not important. What's important is what is its pedagogy value. So here's a great example if you use looks like my screen is frozen here. Okay, so this video pops up. So the professor says, oh, verb furniture. And when they walk in, they see lecture style, and they may think that, oh, well, this is a lecture style classroom. But if they take the 2 minutes to, what is the pedagogy value of this furniture? This is a manufacturer's video, and it clearly articulated what value it brings to the classroom. So it's going to pop this in the middle. And if you're the professor and you watch this, and this is all mobile friendly, you may not realize that those whiteboards pop out and go into those slots, and you instantly have exam mode. And they also, that this furniture, because it's mobile, it could be configured multiple ways, and I could show them that, hey, you could run work group sessions. And then it has another configuration where they could set it up in different modes. So and again, the professor, when he sees these different modalities, they could decide based on what they're teaching how to quickly leverage the asset based on its pedagogy value. So there's also like this, when you walk in, if you've never seen a BrightLink before, you might not know how to use it. So here's a video that for the manufacturer is 4 minutes long. It shows you, that you could use digital ink, and it'll show you how you could, what it's capable of from a teaching perspective. And this is all mobile friendly. So the problem was now whenever you update a room by just updating its assets, you're able to update the room's training real time. And professors have a 7x24 training availability at the palm of their hands. So now the accountability about training and updating them on what the capabilities of assets are is transfers from you to them, because it's always available, it's mobile friendly, and it's broken down into chunk size pieces. And if the assets you have, if you're not happy with the way that they're showing up, you could create your own videos and work with your instructional designers and faculty and come up with your own 2-minute, what's the value of this for the classroom? What's the story behind this asset? So, and this is literally quickly done in our system, because people know that you have to update equipment and you're always dealing with make models. And literally what you're allowed to do is you could come up with like faculty content, and I'm going to show you one, like wireless Crestron. So this is a capability, and it's wireless presentation, but we know there's 2 flavors. There's the wireless Crestron flavor, and there's the wireless Kramer flavor. They both achieve wireless presentation, but they have different ways to interact with the technology. So if you find your institution has 2, you still have to convey that the professor wants to know, hey, I need wireless presentation, but they may have to know, well, if it's Kramer, I better tell them this, and if it's Crestron, I better explain it this way. So you create a piece of content. Here is just like, you just create a name, wireless presentation. You associate it with wireless presentation. Wireless presentation Kramer is associated to a master feature called wireless presentation. And you put the YouTube video here. And if you have images, you can put them here. If you have content, web content you want to put, or if you want attachments. So you're building a piece of content. And then literally you go to your catalog, which is your asset types, and you open up the Crestron or the Kramer that you want to, you literally go here and you add the tag to that asset type. Now, anytime an asset of this type gets moved to a room or removed from a room, the pedagogy training automatically goes with it. So this, we feel that, addresses those business problems, also helps the learning space service providers get more aligned academically to the institution in terms of, what are your academic goals, and looking at your asset types and trying to find out the ones that meet the academic requirements. And you show it in a way that's explainable to your audience. And by managing or upgrading your rooms, you automatically get the training component and the pedagogy use, which again, I'll go back to the start of our presentation. It's the raison d'etre. At the end of the day, learning spaces that work, that align to academic goals, are the key responsibilities of learning space providers. So I'm gonna, that's our quick 20-minute presentation. We could open it up now to the floor. Jeff and I'd be happy to answer some questions. And again, we could pop up some different screens if you want to look at different aspects of how that works, and maybe questions about the business goals and business alignment. But I'll turn it over. I'll open up Q&A. I'm looking at chat here, I think. Oh, Joe, thank you. That's for the comment. But yeah, I'll open it up. Any questions or any comments?
All right, I'm on. Well then, no, I think that this is fantastic. As I'm like, one of the things that we're struggling with is, again, like kind of having, having any database, to tell you the truth, but also something that's usable and really for our student workers, because we have to manage things. We have a staff of 135, so being able to have something that they can now use and have all of our stuff in scale that's manageable is just huge. I'm sitting here just trying to think. I don't know if Chi has ideas, as I see him on the call too, and Raj, of just how this all goes together. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think this looks great, Frank. I mean, great presentation. And I think, it's something we definitely want to do, because what we also manage is we manage something called the Room Finder application for the entire campus. And it's very much in line with what you're talking about. And, one question we have is we want to look at things like how can we augment it in the future, right? So like, for example, we have 3D captures of our spaces right now. How can we integrate it into applications like what you're showcasing, so that way our faculty can get like a whole 3D view of the space? So we have all these assets that are there, but we haven't quite showcased it yet. So, I mean, we'd be interested in kind of seeing and learning more about this. Yeah.
Got it. So, and Jeff's our CTO here, he's the more the technical side of things, but what you're saying is, you got all these rich assets, but you need a repository to put it all together so everything operates together. And that's really the underlying design of our system. Like, this was built from the ground up for learning space service providers. And since it's cloud-based and it's Amazon-based, we're constantly evolving the product. It's evergreen. And every year we set up a session with customers to say, how should this product evolve? What are the next needs? So there's always continual evolution of the product, really targeted learning spaces for higher ed. So right now we have, if I go back to my screen sharing, I'm going to pop up that, again, there's the back-end view, which I'm looking at now, and I'm going to flip over to the locations module. And again, you could peruse it through like hierarchically, or you could go directly to a classroom by just using the Google search. I'm just going to pop up. I know the classroom's called Pilot. I'm going to pop it up. And this is the back-end view. So this is like, if I want to see all the technology assets, or you could grade your own groups of facilities assets, or like, even chemistry assets, if there's like assets that are geared to a specific program that are important for learning spaces. They could be put in here, and in the faculty here, this is where you load the feature pictures.
Right.
And this is where you load the 360. And Jeff, you could talk more about if there's different, like when you said, Raj, the 3D model, are you talking about a specific format of a 360 picture? Because it's really just dropping it in here based on.
Yeah, no, I think this is kind of like what we're talking about. These are standard 360 captures, saying whether it's using, whether it's using, go ahead, Chi.
Yeah, we are using the Ricoh 360 camera. Yeah, this is very standard JPEG
Yep.
format.
That's what we use as well to do our pictures, the Ricoh.
Oh, perfect.
So Frank, maybe you can just go to the preview and show the 360 view again.
Yeah, the other thing that's kind of interesting, because we were talking with another customer the other day, and they presented a really unique problem that they just renovated the classroom and changed one piece of equipment. Did that change affect the quality of the picture? I.e., well, if you pop out a short throw and you put a display, that's going to cause a disconnection for everything, right? So, and I think probably everybody, that's a problem that everybody has. Well, how do I know that, if I have pictures, if I should, take it down or disable it, or so that's a unique. And what we discovered is that, there's only certain types of assets you want to flag that if this asset change, you better change the picture, right? So we're looking at what's the least overhead, because if there's an asset that behind the scenes that doesn't affect pictures, then you don't want it to warn you. So there's even that level. It's an interesting problem. So
also, I have a few other questions. One, does it work as a flat fee? Is it subscription modeling? So I'm gonna try to get them all out one thing. That How does it work with asset tracking? Can I export it and have that type of stuff? And can you go more into the reporting and how I can use that data for, basically, messaging up to my bosses? I know that's a lot of
Yeah.
different things.
Oh,
But,
yeah. Yeah,
and,
those are good.
utilizing those analytics.
Yeah, I could provide that. So essentially, I'll go here because this was really, this session was really targeted about getting the pedagogy value. That's that's one aspect the system does because it's a critical one, and I think it's a really interesting one for people. But the system was designed with all these modules where, depending on what you have and what you don't have, like for example, if you have a ticketing system and it's working, you don't need the workflow capabilities of our system. But if you don't have a ticketing system, this is a really rich one where you could go in and you could actually visually create your own workflow visually. And it's a visual workflow. You create your workflow, and then this actually controls everything. Who's allowed to see the case type, which roles are allowed to see it, who's allowed to see which fields, who's allowed to update fields. When you change state from state to date, what are the actions, who gets notified? So you could visually model your workflow, and then you could instantiate it and start operating from it. And like, for example, here's a standard, and again, everybody does this differently, but if you use the workflow for incidences, it'd be really nice that, you got to be fast because you got to get to the problem. So audio is out. It automatically copies it, says everything read is, that's whoever creates this workflow. I need to know that what type of problem this is. Equipment not responding, correct usage is a pretty common one. It's a critical ticket. And if you type in, again, you can't get the locations wrong. If you start typing 100, if you say, I know the classroom is 100, but there's a lot of 100s in the institution. Is it AH100 or is it SS100? So you can't go wrong. It doesn't let you mess up the location. And then once it knows the location, it knows the assets in there. So it's really fast to create it. So Joe, just without getting into a lot of detail, this is an all-in-one learning space provider system. So if you have components, great, use them. If you don't have components, this enriches it, what you're missing. If you don't have anything, this has a ton of features that every learning space would have. I need elements of loans. I need elements of training. I need elements of asset type management. I need asset disposition processes. I need assessments. It's all in there, and some of them are optional.
But to Joe's for reporting and stuff, maybe the end of life reporting.
Yeah. So
and forecasting.
So here's one of the, if you have all your assets in here and you're actively managing your catalog. So for example, I know I'll just quickly go here. If I go to the catalog and somebody in the institution that's a subject matter expert wants to introduce wireless presentation. So they do their research, they decide Crestron Air Media is our product. They create the asset type, they describe it, and they give it the life expectancy. I know this asset's good for 10 years. Now you start buying this thing, it's a standard. So what you can do is you could go to your items and you could do this real time and you can run an end of life report. And I'm gonna run it at the institution level, break it down by building and just focus on technology assets. Within seconds, it'll run an end of life report and give you a 5-year outlook of what your end of life cost would be based on your life expectancies and your standards. So this is reporting. You could export anything. We have a really powerful import routine that takes Excel. We create the Excel for you, so you can download it from here. And then literally you just drag and drop it in here and it starts processing row by row and it fixes everything. So it could import data really fast, update data really fast, create data really fast, and delete data really fast. So it's a subscription model based on users. It's because it's cloud-based. and it's a evergreen, but and then some optionals these are all the core modules, and then the loans if you need that. So I hope that kind of I gave a kind of long answer too with the bits and, but essentially it is a subscription model, and you get a lot of out of the box, but then there's some optional modules depending on what you have.
And the inventory management module, is that reusables and all that, or inventory is in everything you own? Like
yeah, that inventory, it's really the assets you decide you want to manage in here. So like, and again, that's at the institution, because we see some, and also we could also differentiate generally owned assets versus department owned assets, because sometimes you don't own them, they pay for it. So it's smart enough to do that.
I have a question. Yeah, for the assets management, can you use your tools to generate labels and then to scan their devices?
So we're actually working on that now. So in generating barcodes, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, this is correct.
Yeah.
If you can RFID, that will be awesome.
So you're looking to produce asset tags. So in fact, that's something we're working on right now, is the ability to be able to scan those barcodes and have it search the system and bring it up in various locations. And also then integrate with various barcode printers. Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
So heat retardant labeling and all that stuff is included in that.
I think that's great. One thing I wanted to talk about was, does it do integration with things like third-party tools like ServiceNow or anything else? So like, for example, we do a lot of ticketing with that. So would it integrate with something like that?
So
no, at the moment.
Yeah, we don't have a native integration, but like if you do an export, you could do an imported ticket, so you could run that. Oh, so we didn't show you that yet, but there's another really cool report that we hope everybody does, because we see high value in this one. But
well, and let me just address something first. So I know we often get asked about integrations. Our ticketing system is very much tied to the data in the system, very tied to assets and locations, right? Generalized ticketing systems like ServiceNow and generally don't do a good job of validating those. Right, because you probably don't have all your assets in ServiceNow for the classrooms, right? You may not even have like a hierarchical list of locations like we do. So generally doing an integration where the other system doesn't have the data, and I think you're probably talking
the data
about
integrity. Yeah.
Like it really makes it difficult to do any sort of integration in that respect.
Yeah, I could give you a simple one. Like for example, if you go to ServiceNow and you create a ticket for a classroom, does it, when you type in a building code and location, does it validate it, or is it free text?
Currently, right now, it is free text as far as, but we have locations, but AV equipment may not be there. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you put location, if you say AM space 100 and I put AM -100 and somebody else puts no space, like that's 3 different spaces. Like how does this, like you have to, there's key data integrity items that you have to protect for integrity reporting. If that's not there, you're gonna have problems, because you can import it into our system through our import routine, but it's going to say, hey, hold on, AM 100 exists, but AM space 100 doesn't exist, and AM -100 doesn't exist. So then it's going to cause you a lot of grief. So you really have to look at that carefully. What I was going to show you, because Joe asked a question about like intelligent reporting, like ticketing systems. There's 2 great values. One is that you track everything that's coming your way, so you don't forget anything. Value 1. Value 2, which is often never done, which we think is so important, is at the end of every month, we run this like ticketing volume report, which says, like, say, for example, we just hit October. We just finished the month, and it says, okay, last month we had 777 tickets. So it shows you, like, over the last 6 months, if your tickets are climbing up or tickets staying flat or going down. Then it breaks it down by their type. And if you want, it actually breaks it down by building. So here it says out of these 777 tickets, 49 of them were in the CSA building. So then, because if you have different teams accountable for different buildings,
Mhm.
and the idea is that incidences are unplanned events, that you should have zero, right? And if you could actually look at them
Mhm.
and solve the root cause, then next month you expect your numbers to go down. So I don't
So
know, like this is
all of
super
these are
valuable.
hyperlinked as well. So Frank, just pick one. So all those numbers you see are hyperlinked, and if you click, you can actually it'll give you a list of those tickets that make up that, right? So a lot of our reports, and the same with the end of life reporting, you saw that the numbers were hyperlinked. So you can actually click to get all the details as well. So we try to integrate you know, our reporting back into the system so you can get the detail where you need it.
Yeah, this is like, this would be a like an interesting topic as a separate session, because how many incidents should you have? Zero. That's the gold standard. Everything should work. But if you really actually track your numbers, it's almost impossible. But if you don't see how bad it is, you don't realize how much time you're spending and how many interruptions you're introducing in the classrooms.
Hmm.
So this is so important that you do this part and say, you know, how many are we getting an abnormally high amount, or are we getting a low amount? But you got to see it, and then you got to be able to not proactively attack this or fix the root cause, so you guys are not spinning your wheels and running around fighting fires all day.
Mhm.
But fascinating topic. Everybody is running through the same problem.
And I think the other thing about our ticketing system as well, as you saw before, Frank showed you, you can actually build your own workflows, which is, again, a lot of idle systems with ticketing systems. You know, you all realize you have to hire a developer and, you know, many iterations and a lot of work to actually build a workflow. In here, you can actually build the workflows yourself. And not only that, is you can change them as well. So if you decide they're not working well, you can add steps and remove steps, and it'll adjust even tickets in progress. So just from a flexibility standpoint.
Yeah, on the room stuff, is there
Mhm.
both public and private dashboards? Like, can I create a dashboard for other users, like to be able to view and see what's in spaces and stuff like that, or is it simply behind the login?
Yeah,
The everything is behind the login at the moment, right? So generally what we do is we'll integrate with your single sign-on service and that. And what happens is that users that log in through the single sign-on that the system doesn't recognize, we can actually create just a quick simple account for them to access this on the fly.
yeah, and Joe, we have some like best practice information on that. For example,
Hmm.
I like how you said that, because there's there's rooms you want to publicly expose, and there's ones you don't want to expose at all, right?
Mhm.
Those ones you want to expose should be marketing collateral on the main website. They should be pictures that are I know that only a handful of them. You don't need hundreds of them, right?
Mhm.
And every institution has classrooms they don't want people to see. So you
Mhm.
definitely you want to create a proper marketing page, make it public. Also, we found that from a security perspective, if you make everything public, people could use it to, well, this institution bought something really expensive and I'm going to try to target it. So there's some security problems with exposing too much as well.
Yeah, one of the things, so Raj kind of touched on it. We actually have a lot of our users who want to know what's in a room before they go and
Mhm.
want to see it. And we make it full because we oversee all the general use stuff. So we actually want it to them to be able to go in,
Mhm.
get a view of the space, especially, you know, being at USC, we do a lot of public and very high profile events, especially in the evenings and weekends all the time. The Olympics is coming to
Mhm.
us. So we, you know, we're also looking for just some ability to, like, we don't want people to keep emailing us saying, "What's in this room? Does this room have a
Mhm.
microphone? Does this have that?" Like, here, log it, click the room. You know, maybe be able to
Mhm.
funnel it based on, you know, I need something with a microphone. Fine, click. Here you go. Here's everything there. I need something with dual projectors. Click. Here you go.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah,
type of thing, right?
Mhm.
yeah,
Is what we, and that's why I mean, we kind of want it sort of public, or maybe there's a way to expand it, or maybe it's your. And the only reason I say that, like 99% of the time, it's fine if it's not, because everybody has SSO, but
Mm.
not everybody like. And a movie filming, right? Our spaces are used for movies all the time. Well, they don't have a USC email, but they might want to know what type of spaces look like, right?
Mhm.
And what's the
Yeah.
architecture of that room? So it might be nice for them to be able to go in. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just
actually,
you get where I'm going?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
see
only
that.
that specific room and not all rooms, correct? Is
Oh
that?
no, they might have a set of rooms.
I would every
Mhm.
room. We all have.
Yeah,
I would guess.
Yeah.
it's all
Oh,
our rooms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jeff,
I
what they
remember
can do
my
is they could create an external account and allow and make them faculty.
Yeah, you can create local accounts in here as well, but you know, I guess there's not a lot of reason that some of this couldn't be made publicly accessible, right? The thing is, would you want those public facing people to come directly here, right? Or really do you want those public people to hit your main website?
Yeah, I want them on them. I would want them on our main, learning environments page.
Right.
I don't know if there's a
So
way to-
so the other option is to do it on your website, but you could use APIs into our data here, into the site here, on your web server to pull and navigate the content.
that would be a solution.
Mhm.
Yeah, so when you're using API, you also can select, pick and choose what data field we can display. I kind of like it. So do you also have something API like connect to Power BI, something like that to help?
No, we don't have anything like that. We actually don't use kind of a standard API in the. We actually don't have anybody utilizing that right now. Like it's it's a little bit different than a normal REST-based system, but all of the data can be accessed through that.
Mm.
Mhm.
That would be good. There could be a lot of use for that too. I
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah,
Because then you can
this
also,
is
you're
really
not pulling everything. You're only pulling what's actually,
Mhm.
what they would actually care about.
Yeah.
And then we can.
the way this is deployed, it's deployed on Amazon, and each customer gets their own instance. So it's not like a multi-tenant environment.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, no, we should. I mean, if you want to connect with Chi and get a demo set up, either after or
Yeah,
whatever. Chi, if you want to throw your email in, I'd
yeah,
love
yeah,
to
sure.
kick the tires on this.
I remember we met in CCUMC too. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's good
Yeah.
time to follow.
Yeah, just shoot an email. We could arrange like a,
Okay, we shoot it
detailed
on the
demo
chat.
for you guys.
That's fantastic.
Sorry, typo.
And I like the workflow editor, the workflow stuff too.
Yeah, there's probably like other modules that I didn't touch on the assessments, but assessments also another topic. Like, how do you assess classrooms before a big term? How do you consistently assess them? How do you efficiently assess them? It has an assessment type editor, so you could create and launch assessments and track them. And so there's all it's targeted to learning space service providers. But again, that's why we picked this presentation, because the last mile about the classroom is ready and how to, and that, to me, that award affordance is such a key one, where you walk in there and can you figure it out and teach versus spinning around trying to figure out how to use the classroom or call for support. That's a big one. And our technology manufacturer, sometimes, yes, it works, but it's esoteric.
Yeah.
I have a question. Yeah. Do you have any calendar integration? Yeah. We're using at Astra. So you can
At
tie
Astra,
to
yes. So we would, but right now all integration has to be custom. We don't have out of the box. We haven't found a system yet that everybody, like for example, room scheduling, everybody uses their own scheduling system. It's almost impossible. So if there was a high value one, we want to do the research of, for example, is there data integrity issues that are going to cause, the feed works, but the data integrity is not working. And until you fix that, there's no point for an API. So then we look at a custom way of integrating the systems, but nothing out of the box right now. We haven't found a use case.
So yeah, that's have high value. Like for example, we have a classroom auditorium, right? So we can tie to the calendar. We can go to the room to see the event. So that will be really high
Yeah, I
value
see what
for
you're
us.
saying. So on that faculty page, point to this room scheduling system, put the link automatically up there.
Mhm.
So is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Or the other option is if you know the URL and IDs of those, that's another way to immediately do it without an integration. Just update, put a URL with a proper ID.
Yeah, maybe we can have an offline conversation
Yeah.
to go through the calendar, because the calendar and access management, this is a great two features, and then also to have a public facing page to, like as Joe mentioned, that we can isolate certain information to be public. That's also helpful too.
Yeah. Earlier today, I was talking to someone because, again, this is the faculty view of the room, right? It's very user friendly. It's pedagogy based. And here, like they could rate the room. It's moderated. And also they could see the room. But there's other actions that might be important. Like, can they create a ticket from this room? Like, I have a problem. I want to put a ticket right in there. Go right into your ticketing system. But there's all sorts of actions this page could evolve to better support people.
So the action, we can work with ServiceNow, we can create a template. So, and then for example, in this room, this is main C105, we can have a custom link and then populate all the information when you send the ticket. So
we put like an action, Jeff. You'd have to
yeah,
talk to our CTO about creating a
If-
separate action about
yeah, they fill their name, email, and then also to point out what is the pain points they're experiencing, so that we can do that. Would you mind also show me all the modules very quick again?
Sorry, which one? Which module?
Oh, the modules. Yeah, you have the list to see.
Oh,
all
sorry, the
kind
modules. Oh yeah, sorry, the modules are all here.
access
Catalog. These are asset instances. This is your user directory. This is your forum environment for customer forum. So there's all sorts of best practices in there and questions, links to resources, locations, tickets, vendors. Here's all your faculty content, moderation. Here's all your user loans and services module. If you have a loans desk and selling desk, and here's your user management, and then there's all your dynamic data, custom data, standards. So.
and just wonder, when we want to export the information, what kind of format will be available?
Well, there's right now we have on, like, for example, if you go to the items, if you have this feature, it has to be enabled. You can export the results and it goes to CSV.
Oh, CSV, okay.
Actually goes to Excel, but
Sorry.
Excel. Oh, Excel is even better.
yeah.
So you can have multiple tabs, right? So that you can.
Yeah, if you go,
Anyway.
let's see if you go, but it only shows you data that's visible. For example, like if I go into locations, you want to dump all your locations, you could export that.
Oh, great.
So we're working on a general module to be able to do more than just this, right? Where you'll actually be able to utilize it to look at all the data across modules. You can build your own queries, perhaps, and potentially link those into dashboards on the homepage and stuff. So these are a few things on our short-term roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
much more, many more tools for, working with the data.
So I think we have some use case, and maybe I can go over the tools we're using so that I see the great value. For example, ServiceNow, right? So Raj and Joe mentioned that. So we need to, when we can using your tools to interface to generate ticket, that's nice. And then also there's some web pages, so we would like to reference as well. So for example, we have some dashboard like from Datadog to see the device's status. And then we have a page just for the staff. They can log in and then they can see dashboard so that I can customize it. Each room, I have a custom dashboard to see the device status. There's nothing to do with your database, but we can pull information from other URL. And then calendar integration is definitely is we need to think about. So maybe there's another way, can be very simple, because that will give us a lot of flexibility. And then also we do have cameras. So camera, we have the IoTSP data feed. So when we can embed the link to your system, so that's also working too. Yeah, I can see great potential to be a single dashboard to allow us to oversee the entire operation.
Yeah, and I just have one more point before we close this session off. Like, I'm just looking at the system catalog here, which shows you all your asset types. And I did a reverse sort showing me all my asset types by most popularity. So like, for example, we have 486 of these Dells, and then we have 118 of these Crestron, right? You could, once your assets in your room assets are in the system, you could literally go top down and say, do I need a pedagogy video for each one of those? So if I had a pedagogy tag for this one, immediately every room that has this asset will get that training. And then you just go down the list, and if you have standards, then you can really build that training really rapidly.
Yeah, the good thing is we have about 500 classroom learning spaces. So they're more like the cookie cutters, right? We have type 1, type 2, and type 3. So we just create this and then duplicate to every single room and then do some basic modification, because sometimes
it'll show you that. And then if you once you get the data in the system, it'll actually shows you.
I also so but the tools right now, as you mentioned, that there's no public facing page, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Let me share the link. Let me see. So this is the page. It's extremely popular. So, but it's an old technology. We really need to have a new solution. Yeah, let me put the.
And this is public facing right now, the one you're going to type in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you open it? Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, our page is extremely simple. Yeah, because this is meaning, as Raj and Joe mentioned that. So we have external guests and then faculty. We have temporary faculties, right? So they maybe teach 1 or 2 semesters, but before they come, they hit the link and then they can see basic information. But with your database, we definitely will put more. That's might be more like the internal access information, because I don't want to see the MAC address and the tag for the question system. And then with your tools can generate a public facing page so that we can swap this.
Yeah, every time an asset comes in and out of a room, this page automatically gets updated with the pedagogy story. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and then also this page is not dynamic, so which mean that have a single. I wish we have a dynamic page so they can have filter, like Joe mentioned that microphone, speaker. So and then where I can search and then with pictures, that's very powerful. Yeah.
And that's what this here is.
Like in our system, that's where features come in, right? So you can choose features that are searchable.
Electronic. Show me all the rooms that have electronic ink. Show me all the rooms that have direct LED and electronic ink. So yeah, you could customize these.
Yeah. So you need to have a custom page and then customer facing page. Yeah. So they can have basic filtering, and then also we can define what parameter they can see it from your system.
Yeah, and this is what this is right here. Here's the dynamic list. So for example, active learning, if you want to create that as a tag, is it visible? So is it searchable? Can you so this is a tag that is searchable, and it's you could use it in locations, not in catalogs here. And then it automatically shows up like this page is dynamically built every time, and it's controlled by your content.
Great. Yeah, maybe we have a discovery call at some point. So maybe next week. So you are from Canada, so that you're earlier. What time is this in your place right now?
Oh, it's 3 o'clock, but it doesn't matter. We're
3:30.
plus or minus 3 hours. Yeah.
We're in
I
Eastern
have-
Standard.
I have project working with Canadians right now as well. So I always work at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Pacific time. So I like to meet earlier because then
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
less
that's no
distraction.
problem.
Mm.
So yeah, I send you my email. So that is a chihan@usc.edu. Yeah, please send me an email, and then maybe a couple of days you're available next week, so that we can have a discovery conversation
Yeah.
to show we can go over
Yeah,
what kind of
I got your email here.
perfect. Yeah, and then also I want to learn about the pricing structure. So can you
Yep.
share with me how the pricing work out?
Yeah, it's there's a base subscription, and you got a 10 users automatically, but it all depends on your user count and which modules you want. So
Yeah.
in this session we have, I'll give you the options, and then we'll generate an official.
Sure. Yeah. I want to tell you that we have a 12 full-time staff, and then we have 150 student workers, and then also we have 50,000 students and faculties. So, and then I can see that we will have a core member, like 12 of them, and then also we have student worker. They may have limited access, and then also we have public access for 50,000 people.
Did you say you had 250,000 students and faculty?
50,000, yeah.
50,000.
Student and faculty.
50,000. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So we're working with institutions already that have that 50,000 mark easily. Yeah.
Yeah, but they not necessary to update in any information. I
No,
expect
that's but it just means that they have 500 classrooms, and it's a big
yeah,
institution.
exactly. But I expect that they will have we will create a custom page. They can just access to the page without any login. Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Wow, that's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
I think that's great.
turn
I
it back
appreciate
to
the
you.
time, guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think this we're
Wow, shit. Do you have any additional questions here? Yeah, I do not
No, I
realize.
think this is good. I think we will try it out, and we'll connect Frank and Jeff and go from there. But we appreciate this overview.
Yeah.
Perfect.
One last
Thank you,
question.
everyone.
One last question. Can we change the logo?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a whole branding side. You could change the logo. You could change your name. There's a branding section in the application settings.
Perfect. We can change color and logo. That's good. Yeah, that's
The color, no, the logos you can, the front page, all that. There's a bunch of, but the color bar in the center right now it doesn't. But the
Blue?
logos and the front page, yes.
Because
Actually,
you
sorry, because there's internal pages for learning space providers, and there's that external page. I think, Jeff, do you remember the faculty modules that were more controllable with colors?
No, not at the moment.
yeah, because USC is like we do not like blue. We like red. So
Yeah, of
this
course.
is
Oh, does this come back to a rivalry?
yeah. UCI
Brand identity.
is that
We can take that back if that's critical.
That's a one supplier. They try to give us a gift like a chairs, but they send us a blue color so that we have to send them back out immediately.
Oh yeah,
That's
of course. Yeah.
this was a joke, yeah, but that's very true.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we
totally
try.
understandable.
Great. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
everyone.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys so
everybody.
much.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.